breaking overnight. Anger and frustration boiling over at town halls across America.
Here's the only thing that DOGE has done, which is it's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government. But here's the thing.
To be clear,
damn, would you look at that? As you can see across the country, a fired up resistance is roaring back to life for obvious reasons, because the Trump administration 2.0, this time it's personal, is going very aggressively to make changes at the speed and nuance level of a 4-year-old child who's very hungry and just pooped himself.
What DOGE is doing is it's the closest thing to, it is the closest thing to zero-based budgeting that we've seen. Why would you be opposed to us looking on a line-by-line basis whenever you...
From an immigrant from South Africa who wasn't elected!
But people are outraged by Trump's reckless leadership and his overly cozy alliance with his unofficial co-president, Elon Musk, billionaire who is remaking our country to be less generous to poor people and those in need and those with government jobs who've given their life as service to our country. How lovely of him. Well, yes. But it's very interesting because, you see, I think we can actually claw back a lot of, kind of like this claw back a lot of what people rely on. That way we can cut some money. But please don't touch the subsidies to my own companies, even though Tesla's stock is falling despite the president doing a commercial for Tesla in his front lawn of the White House. It still didn't really do anything positive for me. So voters are making their voices heard loudly on account of the insanity, total show cartoon that we are currently living through, from fiery protests to packed town halls. Even in deep red districts, in deep red states, constituents are putting their Republican representatives on the spot, as they should.
I would say that I understand this room is different than the rest of Eastern Washington, but you guys, you are. So I think, and I'm not saying you're being disingenuous in your heart of hearts, but you have a perception that America is spiraling to some kind of a constitutional crisis. Yeah. And by and large, while I would have some disagreements with President Trump on some things like tariffs and some other issues, by and large, what people of America see, what people of Eastern Washington see, is President Trump delivering on his promises. And so
the backlash is so intense that GOP leaders are now scrambling for cover, opting for teletown halls or avoiding them in general, just to avoid taking the heat directly to their faces. And if you can't stand the heat, stay out of Congress, is what the famous saying never said.
We see images of some tough town halls across the country. What would you tell the people of North Carolina wondering about efforts to reduce the size and scope of government? I mean, there's pain and anger, but government is too big. So how would you handle those town halls?
Well, first of all, Trey, I always tell people if they want me to have a town hall, please come to my office and sit down and talk with me. I'm happy to answer your questions and talk with you personally. I don't do town halls because I think it's just an opportunity for people to yell at their member of Congress.
And then there's Nancy Mace replying to a publicized town hall with her attending for her South Carolina district, saying this is fake news. The event is being driven by left-wing extremists and paid agitators with a clear agenda. I will not be attending. We're staying away because it's not safe, and we refuse to be bullied by individuals who are threatening me, my employees, and my family. No evidence she's being threatened by anybody, and the claim of paid agitators whenever people have problems with your policies policies, or the policies you tacitly or quite explicitly endorse, is getting really old. There's no paid agitators, except the only time it's been proven literally is when Trump has taken out ads and paid for people to attend his events early in his first campaign when he wanted to pretend he had excitement, and it worked very, very well. But other than that, people are actually allowed to be mad at stuff, and you can't just dismiss it by saying they're paid actors. For sake. But of course, instead of facing their constituents, just a basic duty of elected office is all, Republican lawmakers are chickening out. They're dismissing frustrated voters as being paid and abandoning the people they swore to represent. No big deal. It's just swearing an oath to the Constitution, but whatevs. It's not just cowardly, it is a betrayal of the people who put them in power. You see, public service requires something known as accountability. And when people show up angry, it's only because they have every right to do so. Dodging them, deflecting blame, pretending their frustration isn't real isn't just unprofessional. It's a disgrace. It's also a Nancy disgrace. Nancy Mace. It's one thing to agree with bad policy, which they are definitely doing in many instances, but it's another to agree with it and then not answer for it and then hide from answering for it. And then another thing entirely on top of that to pretend you're not doing it because you're scared, and instead of just not wanting to create viral clips that prove how okay with the crumbling of our checks and balances you indeed are. So Trump, while certainly doing things in a very haphazard way that is causing quite a lot of chaos, is something that should be pretty easy during any normal world to at least distance yourself from some of those procedures, some of those methods. But no, they cling to him like he's their political lifeline, ignoring the very people they swore to represent. If they'd rather chase his approval than do their damn jobs, guess what? They can pack their bags, head to Mar-a-Lago, and polish the chandeliers in his tacky-ass hotel house, because they're better suited for that. And from what I hear, dem chandeliers dusty. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. You can subscribe to my podcast, Last Week on Earth, for a summary of all that happens in the last week. And my guest this current week is comedian Sam Jay, who hosted her own late-night talk show on HBO called Pause with Sam Jay, and writer for SNL. Great episode. Very interesting conversation recorded at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. Check it out now, you hear. Gonna tip a fake cowboy hat. I'm not wearing one. Sorry about that.